Hey guys, here we are live in Lake Isabella, Michigan. We want to see a lot of thumbs up, happy hearts, happy faces, and we're going to let you join in our little presentation that Doc's doing today. So we're going to get started. There you go. Okay, I'm Andrea McKinnee, and I live in Mount Pleasant. And hi guys. And I want to thank you all for taking time to come here today. I think you're going to be really excited about some of the information that Doc is going to share. This is our first meeting of our tour for 2019, and it's called Old Without Age. And if you think about that a minute, you could figure it out. Getting old, but you don't age. So that's good, right? I'd like to introduce Dr. Kurt Fisnick. He's from Fargo, North Dakota. He's been a very successful chiropractor for over 30 years, winning an award in 2004 for being one of the top 100 chiropractors in the country. He has been studying anti-aging information for 20 years. He's a specialist in that. He travels the globe sharing this information with people. He just got back from an 8-city tour in Australia. And so we're very privileged to have you here today, Doc, and I'm going to let you take center stage.
All right, thank you. Well, thanks everyone for taking your time to be here today and spend some time with us. Andrea said my name is Dr. Kurt Fisnick, and I studied chiropractic down in Iowa, and moved back to North Dakota where I was from, and raised my family there, and really, I want to say, you know, Andrea said, you know, I'd gotten all these awards in my chiropractic practice. I was awarded as being one of America's top chiropractors in 2004. But really, when you think about it, you know, in life, isn't it about helping other people? I mean, if you're not helping other people, are you really feeling like you're successful inside? And that's really what my passion is helping other people. So when I travel around, I try and share information that, you know, I want you to be able to leave here today with information that you can put to use. Things that you can go home and you can share it with your family, you can share it with your friends, and I want to share some information that maybe you haven't really thought about. You know, like even when I came up with the title, you know, Old Without Age. You know, wouldn't it be nice that as you get older, you didn't have to feel old? Yeah. Right? I mean, whoever told you you had to feel old when you get old? And you look at some of the creatures on the planet. I mean, there's animals like these big sea turtles that can live 300, 400, 500 years old, right? There's animals in the sea that they never seem to age, like jellyfish. They never seem to age, right? They're, I mean, just a blob of water, but they never seem to age. And there's animals like we were talking about that are just really weird kind of creatures. Like we were talking about octopus this morning. I mean, octopus each arm has its own brain, and one arm could be over here grabbing a glass of water, the other one could be hitting you in the face, and because they think independently. But the animals just never seem to age. But why is it that humans, we show visible signs of aging? I mean, if you look at yourself 20 years ago, don't you look different? And you start having arthritis and joints wear out, and so wouldn't it be nice if you could prevent that from happening? Yes. So that's kind of what I came up with my presentation. So aging is it's a real issue. I mean, we can't stop aging, right? And when you hear about anti-aging, really, in effect, I mean, anti-aging, the opposite of anti means stop. Well, if you stop aging, then you're dying. So we don't want to do that either. And it's a difficult time for a lot of people. Some people, when they turn 50, all of a sudden they get deathly afraid that they're getting old. It's like that magic age where they start to feel older. And you know, even you take a look at we were talking about Ezekiel Emanuel. His brother was really the guy that helped kind of architect Obamacare. But Ezekiel Emanuel works at the National Institutes of Health, and he's written reports, he's on record as saying that we should all want to die by the time we're 75.
Nope.
Right, overdue.
I mean, what do you think of that? Because he says after the age of 75, we're a burden on society. We no longer contribute, we just take away. So we should all want to die at the age of 75. And I'm just like, holy cow, that's wrong. That's wrong. So I'm teaching you, I'm going to try and teach you how you can walk away and think about that. But we're an aging population. You can see in 2012, of the population that was over the age of 65, and this is from Colorado, right? 12% of the population. By 2025, they said it's going to be 17% of the population, and they're saying by the year 2040, that's up to 19%. So, I mean, you can see it's gone up by 30% over that period of time, the number of people who are over the age of 65. And so that's an aging population. When you take a look at this pie chart, what I like to look at here is that you can see in the orange, right? That's the 25 to 49. In the gray is the over 50, and the green is the under 25. You can see 1950 that the 25 to 49 was 32%, and the group over the age of 50 was 16%. Go over here to the year 2015. You can see that the group in orange stayed about the same, 32 to 35%, but look at the group that's over the age of 50. It went from 16% to 23%. And what I try and tell people is when you look at that two age group right there, you can see that the older age group grew. By the year 2050, they're saying that's going to be 33%, yet the group in the orange, the working group, this is the people that are in their prime working years, right? 25 to 50, that's the prime working years. It stayed the same. So you can see it stayed the same. Over here, the year 2100, you can see that it's pretty much stayed the same. Yet the aging population over the age of 50 is now up to 40%. So it's more than double. And so when I look at this, the group that's paying in to Social Security, the group that's contributing to what we're all going to be living on with our Social Security, that we've contributed, and that's supposed to pay for us as living, you can see that group hasn't really grown, yet the group over the age of 50 has more than doubled. So we have more people taking out than we have putting in. And when I go to my anti-aging conferences, this is the one thing that they talk about. They talk about that economic burden. Countries are looking at this because they say it's going to bankrupt not just the United States. This isn't just the United States. This is happening all across the world. People are growing older. And so they're talking about the economic burden that it's going to bankrupt the world. So the solution is let's get rid of the old people. Right? And you think that might be funny. You might think, oh, that's not real. But when you start looking at some of the things that are happening, it starts pointing that direction. They're not figuring out how to make it so that we can contribute more as we get older. They're figuring out how they can take and kind of push us away, push us off to the side. And so one of the things that I talk about, and you'll see a lot of studies on this, is that we talk about something called health span. So we have lifespan, and we've all heard that the lifespan of people has gotten larger, right? If you look back at history, you can say that way back in the days of the caveman, if they lived to be 20 years old, they were an old man. In the days of Christopher Columbus, 1492, if you lived to be 25, you were old. In the days of George Washington, if you lived to be 30, you were old. This is only 300 years ago, in the 1700s. If you lived to be 30 years old, you were considered to be old. In the 1800s, if you lived to be 40, you were old. But you see what happened in the 20th century, from the year 1900 till now, into the 21st century, We've expanded that a lot. People are living a lot longer. And now when you look at some of the studies that are out there, some of the researchers in anti-aging are saying that it's very possible that right now on the planet, the first person to live to be 250 years old is probably already born. How'd you like to be 250?
I don't know, as long as I was feeling good.
As long as you feel good, right?
I'm aging like I am now.
Not if you feel like how you feel now, right? And that's exactly what I hear when I go out and give this tour. They say the exact same thing. If I feel like I'm feeling now, and in 250 years, I don't want to be around because I don't feel good now. And so we got to worry about how do we increase this thing called health span. And what health span is that's the years that you're actually healthy. We don't need to worry about making you live to be 150 years old if you're sick and sore from the age of 70 on, right? Who wants to be around another 80 years if they can't hardly walk now? So you're going to see a lot of the studies. In fact, you're seeing a lot of the studies now that's what they're focusing on. Is they're focusing on health span versus lifespan. And I thought it'd be interesting to add this slide onto there. You start looking at the top 10 causes of death in the United States. Heart disease, lung cancer, COPD, strokes, respiratory infections, Alzheimer's disease, type 2 diabetes, colon rectal cancer, breast cancer, prostate cancer. Look at the top 10 diseases that kill people, and what do you notice about them? They really are pretty much all preventable. And so, what do we need to prevent these diseases? Lifestyle changes. So wouldn't it make more sense, instead of trying to focus on some of the things that our governments are focusing on, and that our healthcare is focused on, why don't we teach people how to have a better lifestyle? And you're just starting to see that. You're just starting to see that a lot of people are focused on that. A lot of researchers are focused on that. So, bottom line is, it costs a lot of money to get old. When you're looking at those diseases, they say that a big percentage of your healthcare dollars goes into the last 2 months that you're alive. Like a majority of your healthcare dollars goes into the last 2 months that you're alive. And so when the insurance companies draw up their plan, they're really trying to figure out, Jane, when are you in that last 2 months? And we're going to cut you off. You no longer have coverage after that. And that sounds kind of funny, and some people say, oh, no, that's not really happening. But if you look at socialized medicine in other countries, that's exactly what they're doing. That's how they lower their health care. Because if the most expensive part of your life is the last 2 months, let's figure out when the last 2 months is going to hit and then cut you off of care. And so you start seeing things like this when you start going to the seminars and you start looking at it. But look at the cost of health care. When I was 8 years old back in 1970, health care was just a little over 5-6% of the total GDP, the total amount of money spent in the United States. It was just 6%. You can see that by 1990, 20 years later, it was almost 15%. You can see that when you get up to now, you can see that it's almost 20%. If this graph continues to go up, following that same linear pattern, right? That's a linear pattern. Where's it going to be by 2050? Right? Right now, it's 20% of all the money that's spent in the United States. By 2050, if you follow this graph, what's it going to be? 40%? 50%? This can be a large part of the amount of money that you spend. So shouldn't the focus be on how do we educate people? How do we teach all of us, and how do we teach our kids and our grandkids and our great-great-grandkids? How do we make it so that this doesn't happen? We get that graph to at least level off and go backwards, right? If we can get that graph to start going down the other way. So I thought this was interesting as I was putting these slides together. I wasn't aware of this, but in 2018, they classified the World Health Organization, which happens to be a branch of the United Nations, declared aging as a disease. It's actually a disease category. If you go to the doctor, he can actually say, Jane, you have that because you're old. They can actually diagnose you as being old. Well, guess what the cure is for it? Nothing. There is no cure. So guess what they just effectively did? They just cut her off of health care because there's no cure for it. And when I was down in Australia, one of the doctors at one of my seminars, he laughed at me and he said, oh, that's just in the United States. I said, no, this is the World Health Organization. This is the World Health Organization. They classified that. And then my son, who was going to school to be a doctor, a medical doctor, he told me, he said, yeah, well, there's lots of things in there, you know, that are classified as diseases, but they don't actually diagnose people with that. They don't use the code. But why would they have added the code if they weren't planning on using it? Maybe not next year, but down the road. So some of the stuff that I'm throwing on these slides, I'm trying to make you think. Trying to make you think that, what if? And what can you do about it? And the answer is that you're in the right place, that you can actually learn how to do something about it. And so we want to improve that health span. And so we want to take and we want to look at, you know, what's the vulnerability to illnesses? We want to extend the health span by preventing or delaying the onset of the chronic disease. What if we can take somebody and we can prevent them from getting Alzheimer's? Rather than treating Alzheimer's, why don't we try and learn how to prevent it? We know what causes a lot of it. We don't know all the causes, but we know some of it. And so you're going to start seeing a lot of research. Actually, you are seeing a lot of research on it. If we know what causes cancer, I mean, 80% of cancer is man-made. So if we know that 80% is man-made, why can't we change that? And when you take a look at arthritis, when you take a look at lung cancer, when you take a look at COPD, all of these things, there's things that you can do for it. And so we start looking at what can we do. And so the natural solution is looking at the diet, exercise, avoid things that we know are bad, like alcohol and cigarettes. Okay? So the good news is that we really do have a lot of great things that we can offer people. We've got drugs on the market that are coming out. Mayo Clinic says that they have a new drug coming out. It'll be like the you know, just the greatest thing for anti-aging. I don't really totally agree with them because they're basing it on a chemo. I mean, how can chemo be anti-aging, in my opinion? But they're you know, Wendy, I'm sure you disagree with that one. But they're saying that their anti-aging is based on chemo. We've got skincare products that they can make a 50-year-old look like they're 20. Right? I mean, we got some skincare products that are just amazing for anti-aging. We've got physical therapy modalities that just unbelievable, that can make a lot of things happen. Laser therapy, electromagnetic therapies. We've got sound therapy, all the different things that can really make a person feel younger. And actually not just feel younger, but it can reverse the age of the cells of the inside. NASA's got a patent on a machine that can stimulate stem cell growth. NASA has a patent on it. You know how they discovered it? When they were trying to recreate gravity in the space shuttles. They discovered that by recreating gravity, it stimulates the stem cells to go back to work. Isn't that interesting? But yet here we are, walking around on concrete all day. Our houses are built up in the air, so we're not making that connection with the earth. We're wearing rubber-soled shoes so that we're not getting that magnetism from the earth's gravitational pull. If you want to read an interesting book, it's called Grounding. And it says that if you just walk around barefoot out in the dirt, get your feet down in the dirt, you actually get that effect of the electromagnetic energy, and it can actually stimulate stem cell growth. Isn't that why sometimes, I know Bob, you were just talking about renting a cabin out on the lake. Doesn't it make you feel good when you go on vacation, you're hanging around at the lake and you're walking around in the sand? North Dakota, we walk around in snow, but the rest of the planet, you guys are walking around in sand and dirt, but we have snow. But you know, it's still there. And then you got surgeries. There's surgeries we can give people. I mean, we have surgery. We can put a new heart in people. Now they've got 3D printing. They can print new kidneys and put them in you. They can. I mean, this is all amazing technology. Over in Russia, they were going to do a brain transplant. Take a brain from one person, put it into a dead person. Isn't that crazy stuff? But when you're looking at the at anti-aging, these are all things that we have. We have stem cells. I work with a couple of different stem cell clinics. Stem cells are amazing. We can teach people, like I said, we can teach people how to prevent disease. We have nutritional things that just amazing. You're going to hear some testimonials here on how nutrition can change things. And then just diet, eating right. You know, we were talking about it last night and again this morning. You know how Jane and Jim are changing their diet to make it so that they live healthier. They can, change the way that their heart works, make it so it works better. I know I've made some massive changes in my diet in the last 20 years. People are you eating the same as you did back in the 60s? You've made changes. And so it's all for the better. All these things are going to make it so that you can improve your health span. So along with good news, I always tell you, do you want to hear the good news first or do you want to hear the bad news? The bad news is just like Wendy and I were just talking about, it's pretty expensive to want to stay healthy. If you could do everything that you wanted to do to stay healthy, what would it cost you? And I sat there when I was drawing up this slide and I added up, okay, the electromagnetic therapy, all the nutritional therapy, the physical therapy, all these different things, buying the right food, eating right all the time. What would it cost you? And it's somewhere between $10,000 to $20,000 a year. On top of the fact that you're still going to have to pay for your health insurance. They're not going to say, hey, Jane, we're going to lower your health care costs, your health insurance costs because you're proactive. No, your health care costs stay the same. And then so it's an additional $10,000 to $20,000 a year that you got to come up with. Do you have an extra $20,000 you want to spend per year? And there's two of you, so that's $40,000. Right? Who has that kind of money? So that's why I like working with what I'm doing, because what I'm doing with working with network marketing type companies is the beauty of it is I can teach people how not just to buy the products and be on the products, but I can teach them how to take that, share their story of how it helped them, and all of a sudden now the company pays for them to be on the products plus some. I mean, if all of a sudden a company started giving you $2,000 a month to stay healthy, would you do it? Yeah. And that's what these companies are doing. And so that's why I like working with companies. That's why I'm on the road doing what I'm doing, because I can share this information. And so this company that I'm working with right now, Sizzle, they've got some of the best products that I've ever seen. I mean, it's not just life-changing, but I mean, I can share my mom and dad's story. It's life-saving. Wendy, you'll share your story. Life-saving, wouldn't you say? Yeah. And that's what you hear as I go around the country. When I was down in Australia, I mean, there was people there that would get up and share their story, and they were in tears sharing their story because they thought that they had been told that they were going to be dead. One lady, they just told her, they pretty much told her, they said, we're going to put you on these antidepressants just to make it so you can deal with what's going on in your life. Instead of trying to fix the problem, they'd given up on her. Her medical staff had given up on her. And don't you hear that a lot from doctors?
Yes.
They said, we've done everything we can do for you. And I'm trying to tell them, look, unless you've tried some of these other things, you haven't tried everything. But their doctors try and talk them out of it. Even when they got done just saying that we've done everything we can for you, you're going to die, we've done everything we can, and then you say, well, what if I tried this? They no, don't do that.
It won't work. Yeah.
I was actually told that by a naturopathic doctor. Don't take that.
Don't take that.
And I didn't listen, and I did what I wanted to, and I did the right thing.
But you shouldn't have to do that.
No.
I mean, your doctor should be saying, look, we've done everything we can medically. You should go look for some alternatives. Try it. Research it, and if there's no dangers with doing it, shouldn't you be allowed? Shouldn't they encourage that, Andrea?
Definitely.
They should encourage it, and they should learn enough about it. But the problem with it is, and I got to stick up for the doctors a little bit because my son's going to school to be a medical doctor. I listen to them. There's so many sick people dealing with disease, and they're just trying to keep these people alive, that they don't have time to really learn what we're learning. So you got to stick up for that too, and you just got to say that we're doing the right thing here. But the thing is that you look, there's a group of about a dozen of us here. What's your job then? Your job should be, how many people live in this area, Grand Rapids, Lake Isabella area? I mean, is there a couple 100,000 people? Right? If you went out and shared it with 10 of them, and they shared it with 10, and they shared it with 10, all of a sudden you're going to start seeing a change. All of a sudden you're going to start seeing people staying healthier, and people are going to be saying, what's going on up there in Michigan? People are healthier. Why are they healthier than they are, say, in Illinois? Or why are they healthier up in Lake Isabella area than they are in Detroit? Because you're making some changes. And so that's what I try and tell people, is that they want to share it. So what I'd like to do is I'd like to, just have a couple people get up and share their testimonial, on what these products have done, how they've helped their lives, how Sizzle has changed their life. And so I'm going to start with you, Jane, since you're sitting right up front.
Thanks.
If you want to get up and share your story.
Actually, get up. Can I sit here? You want to get up?
Would you stand up?
Sure.
We're videotaping it.
Oh, okay. I'm Jane Dufty, and I'm a hairdresser, still doing hair, but I got sick, let's see, probably don't know how many years ago. I was very toxic, about 3 years ago probably. And I didn't realize all the chemicals that I was using was absorbing right into my skin and affecting my health. And so anyways, I was looking, and so I seen it on Facebook that Andrea had on the Facebook page. And so anyways, I called and talked to her. I started with H-pill, and it started healing my hands. I could not keep my hands healed. I had them bandaged up, and I just couldn't heal them. So that started detoxing me. I'm trying to think what else. We take a lot of other than just H-pill, but that's what started my walk in Sissel. Anyways, so I'm healthier now, and I'm glad I met you guys, and that we're using Sissel. That's a phenomenal company, and this is just what my body has done. Everybody's body is different, but I just warn the hairdressers out there to be careful that we thought the government was taking care of the products. Obviously, there's stuff in the products that are harming people. And so anyways, be careful and wear gloves and take care of your body. So,
All right. Thank you. Give her a round of applause. Before we have the next testimonial, I just want to share that I'm going to hand this out to everybody at the end here. But if you're worried about toxins in your life and you're wondering, are toxins causing part of the problem? In this book that we're going to give you, there's a little checklist that you can go through, and you can go through your house and you can check off what you're using, and it lists what the toxins are. And then it tells what the toxins do, what the symptoms are. And it's amazing, right? Like Jane was saying, here she thought that, oh, it's safe to use. They're allowing the hairstylists to use it. Even the shampoos that you use at home. I'll talk a little bit about that. I mean, shampoo is dangerous. When they're making it, they have to wear a hazmat suit to make it. So we'll share that at the end. Jim, do you want to get up and give your testimony? I know you got a quick testimonial as well.
Yep, I've been on Sissel for, what, year and a half. I got my blood pressure under control. Anybody that lays in bed at night, you can hear a pulse in your ears. And you have high blood pressure. Like
Jim,
that.
could you speak up louder?
Do I have to start over?
No, but you, well, if you
Anyway,
want
I
to.
got my blood pressure under control with the Sissel product. I no longer lay in bed and hear this pulse in my ear. And it's quite annoying because you can't go to sleep, so that's gone from the product, so I guess that was it.
All right.
Other things have happened, but the blood pressure was the most. I had, once upon a time, 250 blood pressure. I ended up in the hospital. So.
Yeah. And that's all under control. What product are you using mainly? What would you contribute has made the biggest change in that?
Well, the age pill, Triangle of Life for Coitin. I take a lot of products because of my health. Jane was looking on the web for something to help me out years ago, so this is where we ended up.
You bet. Well, thanks for sharing. I appreciate that. And you think about it, how many people in the United States suffer from high blood pressure, right? And high blood pressure causes what? It causes kidney disease. And one of the things that I was reading about this last winter was, I do a lot of reading, a lot of medical reading. They said if you have kidney disease actually affects stem cells. It causes the stem cell activity to actually go down. And stem cells are like your little Maytag repairman. They're running around your body fixing things, right? When your dishwasher isn't working anymore, the Maytag repairman comes and fixes it. Well, in your body, you have these little guys running around, they're fixing things. And as we get older, we have fewer of them. But if you have high blood pressure that's affecting your kidneys, and now your stem cells actually go more inactive, aren't you going to have more problems? You're going to have more arthritis. You're going to have more chance of Alzheimer's. You're going to have more chance of heart disease. All these different things. So getting blood pressure under control doesn't just prevent cancer, or it doesn't just prevent strokes and heart disease, but it can help prevent arthritis and these other things as well because of the effect it has on the stem cells. And people don't relate all that stuff. So I'm trying to, again, when you're talking to people, think about that, and you're talking to other people that you're sharing with. That as Jim goes around and shares his story with other people, he says, you know, that's going to help make it so that I have less chance of arthritis. Right? And that's the relationship. And Wendy, I know you got just a fantastic story. I've been waiting. I held you here to almost the end to share your story. If you want to get up and share what's
Sure.
happened with you.
Sure. I'm friends with Jane and Sue and Andrea, and they kind of know most of my story. And thank goodness Andrea introduced me to Sissel products. I was diagnosed with stage 3 invasive lobular breast cancer in the fall of 2017. And I chose to have a double mastectomy, which was the correct thing to do because I ended up having cancer on both sides. But because of the lymphatic system involved, they recommended that I have chemo. And every breast cancer patient in situation is different, but mine was chemo, radiation, and then hormone blockers because of the hormone involvement in my cancer. Wow, I only made it through 4 chemo treatments, the tough chemo treatments before I had failure to thrive. I couldn't eat, I couldn't take care of myself anymore, and I made the decision to stop treatment. I actually went into a hospice facility because my doctor had made the statement to my sister, if she can't do all of her treatment, she has 6 months to live. Wow. That didn't happen. I'm here today. I recovered enough to leave the hospice facility. I did go ahead and do radiation treatment, which now I kind of regret. There's issues with my body since then, but my body had difficulties dealing with what chemo did to it and also what radiation has done to it. But I spoke with Andrea coming out of hospice and decided, and Doc, to take the age pill. And I was taking Fucoidan in the beginning, but I discontinued that. But I've taken the age pill pretty much since last June. And the positive things that the age pill has done for me, I have thicker hair than I've ever had in my life. Of course, I have the chemo curl. They say chemo curl, but I have thicker hair than I've ever had in my life. My skin is completely different. I had neuropathy. The type of chemo that I underwent doesn't normally cause neuropathy in your body. The second round of treatment that you have does. But for me, I had neuropathy from the tops of my legs to my ankles. And I literally would have to dig my fingers into my legs to feel them at all. And now I can feel this. I can just feel the touch in my legs. And, you know, they say, oh, you can't, you know, have neuropathy decrease and get relief from that. But, you know, I'm not saying nothing, it cured me, but I don't have 100% feeling, but my feeling has improved. I don't have the pain that I had in my body since then, and my nails are better, my hair is better, my skin is better. And last year, during June, well, before I underwent radiation, they did a series of testing, and chemo had scarred the inside of my bones, and I also had a benign tumor in my left arm. Well, they did an MRI as of a month and a half ago, and the tumor is gone. I don't have a tumor in my arm.
Great.
And I have no clue about as far as my bones, because I haven't had further testing on that. But my neuropathy is improved. I'm still here, and I'm improving and feeling better. After you go through chemo and radiation and cancer treatment, your body really kind of isn't 100% and totally the same. But Sizzle Products has helped support and helped me gain some of what I've lost going through cancer treatment. And I continue to want to improve that and continue to want to go on that path. And be able to testify that I actually walked out of hospice and I'm still here and I'm still cancer-free and improving my health. I changed my diet. I follow a blood-type diet. I try to stay away from processed. I'm not saying I'm perfect. I slip and fall. I do eat chocolate.
Chocolate.
I do eat chocolate. So, but changing your diet, changing what you do, and also the one thing I should add is when I went through chemo and I went through radiation treatment, my body did such as I can't take pharmaceuticals that are prescribed. My body has a difficulty tolerating pharmaceuticals. So I do everything as naturally as possible. For pain, I do CBD, and I can't take Tylenol, I can't take ibuprofen. It affects my liver and kidney, so chemo is very toxic to my body, and I just can't do any of and I've turned to all natural products, even in regards to blocking bad hormones. I take a product called DIM. So I do everything natural, and Sizzle Products are amazing, and I'm so thankful that Andrea introduced me to them. So, and Jane. So, thank you.
All right, give her a round of applause. Jim Truck, we gotta give Jim a round of applause for sharing his story. I mean, think about that. They're saying that every one of us will have cancer by the year 2050. Every single one of us. Wouldn't it be nice to know what was Wendy doing? Wouldn't it be nice to be able to share that with other people. And when it comes to, you know, her talking about the neuropathy, where her doctors, they said, oh, I can't be helping you in neuropathy. There's actually a study out of Harvard that says that some of the ingredients that we find in some of our products, without listing any of the products, but some of the ingredients that we have in our products actually helps with neuropathy caused by chemo. There's studies on it. Your doctor should know about those, right? He's a specialist. She's a specialist. She should know about those things. But sometimes it just seems like they don't.
Yeah, but they're so busy.
They're busy.
They're busy with
Just trying to keep you alive.
their traditional treatments. They don't get involved with non-traditional treatments.
Yeah.
And they actually kind of...
Yeah. Do you want to share your story,
Sure.
Andrea?
So I had some great results. Actually, I joined Sizzle just to use some of their liquid supplements because I felt like my body was a little off kilter, and I kind of felt like I was maybe pre-diabetic at that time. And so Doc had shared a video about the Triangle of Life products, and I took those for about 6 months, and I studied, you know, all kinds of information about the products, which is just typical for me to do research. And then when they introduced the age pill, I found that absolutely fascinating, unique, and so I just really dove into that and couldn't wait for them to bring it out. And several other people, you know, that I had shared information with, and they were like, yes, let's have that, you know. So my response to the age pill was that in 5 days, I noticed a difference in my skin. And I thought that was pretty amazing that in 5 days I would notice something. But then the 8th day, I noticed something that was even more important to me. And I also thought that it was pretty amazing it happened after 8 days. But for about 3 to 4 years, I'd had a really bad problem with short-term memory. And it happened to be like around numbers. So when I got somebody's phone number and I wanted to put it in my phone, it would take me looking back and forth 5 to 6 times to get that number in my phone correctly and know that I had it correctly. I'm typically on conference calls, and you have a 6-digit number that you enter, you know, to make access to the conference call. And even though I jimmied my phone so it was the last thing I saw, like I put it in the name thing, you know, so it'd be the last 6 numbers I'd see, I still couldn't remember 6 numbers to put. I'd read it 3 times over, and I'd go, okay, I'm going to do it this time. And I'd go to do it, and I couldn't do it. So I'd always have to write it down. Well, on the 8th day of taking the age pill, I had an 8-digit number that was coming through in an email to me, and I had to transpose it somewhere, and I just read it, and I went over and put it in. And my jaw dropped about 2 seconds later. My daughter was with me, and I said, I can't believe I just did that. That's amazing. And so I called Doc up, and I said, what? Like, how in the world did that change in just 8 days, you know? And he said, well, you had glycation in your brain, and the age pill cleaned the glycation out, which is just this gooey, crusty stuff that sticks to your DNA. And I went, that's fabulous. And I still continue, and I'm still so excited. I mean, several times a week, I will recognize that I have my memory back. You know, I do a lot of carpentry, and I would go and take a measurement, and by the time I got to the saw, I'd forget the number, you know, and now I can do 2 or 3 measurements at once. And I'm like, I go back and go, I'm so happy I can do this now, you know, or I'll remember conversations from 2 weeks ago that I couldn't have done before. I'm constantly recognizing that, wow, I couldn't have done this 2 years ago. And now my brain is functioning so much better. So that's probably my big wow. I also, you know, the veins on the back of my hands flattened. They were all puffy before. Like Jane said, or Wendy said, fingernails, I had deep grooves in my fingernails. Those all flattened out and smoothed out. Hair got better. Skin got better. I have a daughter that's, you know, like around 37. She took it, and she didn't want to know any details. She said, I'll just take it. A week later, she said, what does this do besides give me smooth, creamy, peachy skin?
It does change your skin completely.
So now my hair is, started growing faster. I even for a while had a hard time putting mascara on because I think my eyelashes were growing. I ended up with mascara all over my face all the time. I was just like a lot more alert, like I was when I was younger. And I got rid of neuropathy in 4 months from about my knees down. I've had that for 3 or 4 years. I had an extreme nerve pain around one ankle, diagnosed as that by a podiatrist. That took 7 months, but it went away. And now my hair is turning darker red again. And a lot of people who've had gray hair or white hair for a long time, their hair turns back to its natural color and grows in. I noticed Doc Fizz turned back since I have known him for 2 years. And I noticed tonight you have less bald up there than you did a couple years ago.
Yeah.
So that's pretty cool. So anyway, that's some of the things, and I've got to think that if I'm seeing all these external changes, I'm feeling all this pain and decay, drop off my body, what's it doing to my organs? How much younger are my organs now than they would have been if I hadn't done this, So that's my story, and I'm sticking to it.
All right, thank you. Give Andrea a round of applause as well. Thank you. So, as I go around the country, and not just the country, around the world talking to people, you hear these stories. And, you start hearing from people that you know. And she's not making it up. She's not getting paid to say it. Right? And that makes a difference. That makes a difference. People want to know. I mean, if you saw Tiger Woods on this TV telling you something, can you believe him?
Not really.
Right? Because he's getting paid. None of you are getting paid to say these things. And that's what I like about working with network marketing. Sometimes some people will say to me, they'll say, oh yeah, you're working with one of those deals, one of those pyramids and things like that. And I'm thinking, this is one of the most real companies that you ever had that you can deal with when you're dealing with companies like that. So I like hearing real stories like that. And why do I like this company? I've been in other network marketing companies. I'm sure some of you have been in other companies as well. But what I really like about it is that we're not just on a mission to help people, but the whole company is. When you look at the owners of the company, the Mauers, they started this mission, the Mauer mission, 30 years ago, to go out and help people live happy, healthier lives. And that's the same mission that I've been on when I went to chiropractic college. I didn't go to chiropractic college to become a rich doctor. I went to chiropractic college because I liked helping people. And so that's why I like, because they're on the same mission as me, or they might say I'm on the same mission as them, and you're all on the same mission as well when you go out and share this. They've been in the business for 30 plus years. They've been doing this as long as I have. It's a family-owned business. It's not a corporate-owned business. So instead of having to answer to stockholders, they have to answer to us. I like that. That's the difference. We manufacture our own products. Last week on this call that we're live on right now, Andrea and I went through the different things in the manufacturing. Last Friday I went through and I did some information on the manufacturing. All the different things that they have to do. I mean, we follow what's called CGMP rating, which means that the FDA sets certain standards that most nutritional companies don't follow. So when somebody says, oh, I'm just gonna go buy that product over at Walmart or Costco or wherever, right? Not saying that they don't have some good products. I mean, I don't wanna cut them down or anything like that. I'm just gonna say that they don't have the same standards that we do. We set the bar up here. And all these other nutritional companies are trying to follow where we've set the bar, right? We do our own research and development. I mean, it's amazing. You've heard people talking about the age pill. The product's been on the market for 2 years, and it's already been improved 5 times. I mean, it was a great product when it came out. It's been improved 5 times. I like that, because that means Tom Sr. and Tom Jr. and Thomas are all keeping up with the latest research, and when they see something that makes it better, they're changing the product. And you'll see that if you're involved with Sizzle, you'll see that every so often the product will come off the shelf and it'll come up with a new improved formula. How could it come up with a new improved formula if it's only 2 years old? That's why, because there's new science. The products that we have are just fantastic. The compensation plan, I'll just go over that. I'll touch on that in a little bit. But I think the opportunity is the best thing. Like we said earlier, how many people live around the area? A couple 100,000 people. Yet, what do we have? About a dozen of us sitting in the room. the opportunity to go out and share that and make enough money so you can at least pay for your own products. Wouldn't it be nice that you could take these products, you listen to the stories? What if everybody you know could take the products and they actually got paid enough that it was free? Sue, if your products were free, would you take them forever? Right? What if they started paying you $5,000 a month to take them? Would you take more?
I'd take more.
That's exactly it, and that's what we hear about from every person. And so, these are the Mowers that are involved. You got Tom Sr., you got his son, Tom Jr., you got Thomas, which is the grandson, and you have Lisa. Lisa's actually in charge of New Zealand and Australia, but she kind of adds that female touch to things, right? Because in a male-dominated world, you know, sometimes things are a little bit on the rough edge, right? I mean, even when I joined, so he looked at the bottle and he was like, I mean, it had to be the ugliest label I ever saw in my life. And now all of a sudden, everything looks really good, and the products are just fantastic. And they're dedicated to coming out with products that actually make changes. We've got cutting-edge products, not just products that we can say, oh, we have one of those. We've got cutting-edge products. We've got personal care products. We've got nutritional products that, like when you look at our multivitamin, it's not just, oh, we don't just put it in there because we can say it's in there. You know, like the best-selling vitamin, again, I won't list who that is, but they throw stuff in there just to say it's in there. But like when you take a look at their silver version, right, and they added some vitamins that would lower your rate of having macular degeneration. But you'd have to take the whole bottle every day. You'd have to take a bottle every day just to get enough of that ingredient to make a change. There's so little in there that they might as well not have added it. But they put it on there because they knew that you all were looking at the bottle when you went to the store, and they thought, well, we'll just throw it on the label just to make sure that you see it and you think it's in there, right? We don't do that. When we make a product, it's in there. The therapeutic dose is in there. And because why take it if it's not going to do something? So we've heard a lot about this product called the Age Pill. And the Age Pill is based on anti-glycation. You heard Andrea talking about. What is glycation? Well, when you start up your car engine, what does it do? It has exhaust that comes out, right? Do you want to go down there and breathe that exhaust? Would you want to put your nose in there and breathe that? Not going to take very long, you're going to be sick. Because as you burn fuel as energy, it gives off exhaust, it gives off bad things. And in your body, when you're burning sugar as energy, it does the same thing. It gives off bad things, and then those things stay in your body. It's called glycated end products. And what it does is it clogs up the system, and it makes it so that the stem cells don't work right. It makes it so that you're just not as healthy. And as you hear the story, we remove that. That's what this product does. So it removes the glycated end product. It removes toxins and sludge from the system. It helps with energy. And when you hear people say, I feel like I'm 20 again, it's possible. It's possible. Andrea's talking about memory. Man, I'll tell you what, when I went to school for engineering before I went into chiropractic, and I used to be able to, people would tell me something, Jane would tell me her phone number. 10 years later, I'd still remember her phone number. You know, I could go do something and I'd remember it. My memory was that good. But over the years, and you guys can relate to this, at the end of the day, didn't you pull out this pocket full of Post-it notes? Napkins that you wrote things on, and you're like, oh, what was that? What was that? And I'd always have a pocket full of notes, and I'd throw them there, and now I don't have to do that anymore. My memory's back to where it was when I was going to school. I love it. We've got a product called TSX, and this is based on Nobel Prize science. In 2009, the Nobel Prize was given to a group of scientists because they found that on the ends of your DNA, on the strands of your DNA, there's some stuff that scientists used to kind of think of as just garbage, like it was the rat's nest where the DNA was sitting in there. But they found that in there was these things called telomeres. And real simple, I'm going to simplify this for all of you, is that the telomeres are really what they are, is that they're the fuse on your DNA that was lit when you were conceived. And so the day you were conceived, that fuse was lit, and it burns really slowly up until about the age of 30, 40, then it starts to burn faster. Then when you get to be 50 or 60, it's burning even faster. 60 or 70, it's burning even faster. When you get to be 80, 90 years old, it's burning real fast. So you're aging faster as you get older. So not only are you getting older, but your body's actually aging faster. Wouldn't it be nice if you could slow that burning down back to the way it was when you were 20? So now a day of life is only a day of life rather than being 2 days? That's what the science was in 2009. And so Tom took that science and he basically made a product, and in my opinion, it's the most powerful product of its kind on the market. But not only did he do that, but he made it so that it's a lot less expensive. I mean, when you look in the catalog, it's a $150 product. And some people tell me, oh, that's an expensive product because it's $150 for 30 pills. That sounds pretty expensive, doesn't it, Dave?
Yeah.
You're thinking in your head, $5 a pill, right? But when you look at the next best product on the market, it sells for $500 for 30 pills. And our product is at least 10 times more powerful because of the ingredients that we put in it. So when you're comparing apples to apples, it's not that expensive. When you look at the ingredients, just one ingredient is $84,000 for a kilo for the raw ingredient. $84,000 for a kilo. What's a kilo? Just under 2.5 pounds, right? So it's like $40,000 a pound for this raw ingredient. That's pretty expensive, right? Yeah, so that's why the product is as expensive as it is, but it works. It works. Can you find other things that work? Sure. You can go out and you can take vitamin C. It helps a little bit, but not like this. That's why it costs what it costs. This one is just an amazing product. This came out about 3 months ago, and it's hydrogen water. You take this little stick, you rip it open, you dump it in your water, and it takes, and what it does is that the ingredients, the magnesium that's in there, it causes the water to have kind of a reaction. And it splits the hydrogen and oxygen apart, and for a while you're drinking your water, you've got not just water, but you've got water infused with hydrogen and oxygen. And when you drink it, we've all heard of these things called free radicals. Mm-hmm. Have you heard of free radicals? Free radicals are what happens to your cells when the cells get in contact with a toxin. And when it gets in contact with a toxin, it creates a free radical, and that free radical causes your cells to age. And I'm simplifying this a lot. It causes heart disease, and it causes skin aging, makes you look older, makes you feel older, causes arthritis. It's like rust. If you take and you drive around in Michigan, you guys use a lot of salt on your roads, don't you? In the wintertime, you don't know how to plow the snow, so you take and you use salt instead, right? But what happens is that salt gets on there, it causes oxidation, it causes free radicals to form in your metal, and the metal on your car rusts out. Well, inside your body, that's what oxidation from free radicals is doing inside your body. And so what they found is that when you take hydrogen water, it neutralizes those free radicals. And guess what it turns them into? It turns them into water. So it takes the free radicals and converts them into water. Isn't that just too easy? Wendy, wouldn't you say that's too easy? It can't work like that. So maybe God put a system in us to do this in the first place. So people ask me all the time, they say, Kurt, why do we need, all of a sudden we need to take this hydrogen water? Why is it something that we need now and we didn't need it 20 years ago? What's the difference between 20 years ago and now? Diet. Right? What are we getting less of now than we did 20, 30, 40 years ago? Fiber. And fiber, when your body digests it, when you're digesting the fiber in your gut, guess what it's producing? Hydrogen. So when we take these hydrogen sticks, real simply is we're just recreating what would have happened had you had the diet that you're supposed to have, where you're having all the fiber. And most people don't need fiber. You know why most people don't like fiber? They don't like the texture. Right? So here's something that they can do for about $1 a day, and now they don't have to consume all the fiber. I still think they should bump the fiber levels up in their diet. But here's something that you can do, and it's going to produce this hydrogen, and what the hydrogen is going to do is it's going to convert the free radicals that cause aging into water. So you're peeing out your free radicals. You're peeing out the things that are going to cause problems. Then we have this one, the 4 Restore. And I talk about this one a lot. Here's a product that's, again, it's based on Nobel Prize science. They found that if you take this L-arginine that comes from red beets, from the roots of red beets, they found that L-arginine, what it does is it roto-rooters the arteries open. Makes the arteries so they're soft and pliable. And when people like Jim talk about their high blood pressure, it's making the arteries so it stretches. And it helps lower the blood pressure. And these are scientific studies. This is, it's just amazing. But what they also found was that it helps with other things like libido. So guess what drug was based on the science that was given to these guys way back in 1998? Dave? What drug would you say it was?
Viagra.
Viagra was based on this too, and they found that it not just works on the natural form, doesn't just work on men, but it helps women as well. So they're a great product to add to your diet. And then now we came out with CBD oil, and I've learned so much about CBD oil. I was in a bad motorcycle wreck back 12 years ago. They told me I'd never walk again because my right leg was nearly ripped off. And for the last 5 years, I've been trying to find a CBD oil that actually worked, something that would give me relief from the pain. And when Tom said he was coming out with CBD oil, I knew that it was going to be a good one. And you can't find one on the market that's more powerful than this. We got 1,500 milligrams, and like Jane and Jim and I were talking about last night, you're getting 25 milligrams of the CBD oil, of the cannabinoids that are in it, and that helps relieve pain. But it does a lot of other things. They found that there's endocannabinoid receptors in your brain, in your gut, in your nervous system, in your immune system. So they find that this is just an amazing product. And again, you're not going to find any other products that equal it. So as I'm going out and doing this tour with Andrea this week, we're going to share a lot about CBD oil. And like in North Dakota right now, they're trying to pass medical marijuana laws. And I hear that, and all of a sudden now you got to register, and you got to go in, you got to have an exam, and it's like, if you can get the benefits from something that's over the counter that doesn't have the psychoactive effects, why wouldn't you want to use this instead? Plus, for some of us that like to have guns and go hunting and things like that, you don't have to register because eventually they're going to take your guns away if you're a registered marijuana card owner. Some states are already doing it. So here's a way that you can have a product that's going to give you relief. There's just so many things about it that I'd be here for another hour. Andrea and I have talked about. How many times do you think we've talked about it on our call? Like 4 or 5 times? We've talked for an hour on this product. And so we just want people to know, and you heard people mention the Triangle of Life. The Triangle of Life is 3 nutritional products. And we got one that's called Fucoidan, funny name. But basically what that one does is it removes inflammation. It mobilizes stem cells. And you're hearing a lot about stem cells. And what they found is that it helps the ingredient from Fucoidan, which is called Fucoidan, actually helps to mobilize stem cells. And what does that mean? It helps the stem cells go from over here to over here where you need it. And what I always try and get people to think about is think about it like if part of that wood flooring was damaged over there, what it's going to do is that the Fucoidan is going to mobilize the repair guys to go to the right spot on the floor. They're not going to be looking over there. They're going to come over here and they're going to work on the right spot. Plus, it helps with the immune system. Over in certain countries, they're using this to actually work with cancer-type patients. Then we have Eternity, which uses an ingredient called resveratrol. And resveratrol, what that does is stimulates the SIRT1 genes. The SIRT1 genes are the genes that actually repair your DNA. And every day, because of radiation, because of diet, because of stress, and we live in a stressful world. Wouldn't everybody agree we live in a stressful world? Who here is not stressed out? Dave's the only one. The rest of you are so stressed out you won't even raise your hand. Right? But it helps with that. It repairs that DNA. And then you have Spectrum Act, which is it's a full spectrum mineral product. It's got 74 trace essential minerals. When you see the word essential, it means you need them. You need them. And according to science from university science like Harvard, they say that most of us are missing at least 12 of the key essential minerals that we need in our diet.
But if you go to most nutritional products, most multivitamin, multi-mineral products, you know how many minerals you see in there? The best one I saw had 25. So what about the other 50? Just forget about them? We've added that all into one product so you can take, and you don't have to drink a bottle. All you have to drink is a shot glass, a 1 ounce shot glass. Who couldn't do that every day? A 1 ounce shot glass of each one of these. And then we have a product for skincare, and we've got a whole line of skincare. But this one's based on science. It's got 24 active ingredients that not only make your age disappear, but it actually changes it. It stimulates, it supports the stem cells in your skin. What it does, it protects you against UV radiation, UVA and UVB. It gives proper nutrition to the skin, makes it so that you have like supercharged nutrition for your skin. So you're not just looking better. Like some of these products, they cover up the wrinkles and they make it look better by putting Teflon on. I mean, you don't want Teflon on your skin. I mean, Jane, you're in the beauty industry, right?
No, we don't want it.
Do you want to put Teflon on your skin or on your hair?
No.
Absolutely not. And so here we have a product that really works and it doesn't use things like Teflon. And we've got a full line of personal care products. We've got natural shampoos and shampoos that will actually stimulate hair growth. We've got a toothpaste that actually helps to rebuild the enamel. Versus most toothpaste, you know what they put in there? They put little gritty things to grind the enamel off. That's not good. Most toothpastes use fluoride, which fluoride they found now is a depressant on the brain. It causes problems with the pineal gland. And the pineal gland is one of those glands that makes you kind of think of the future, makes you think about, what's going to happen tomorrow, makes you plan ahead. So do you want your pineal gland calcified? Not at all. And so you start looking at things like that, like what can you do to actually change your life?